One thing that you talked about that I think is, again, not talked enough is decision fatigue.
Decision-making fatigue,
Yeah,
yeah.
decision-making fatigue. It's, at least my understanding of what you said, and maybe you can explain a little bit more. Uh, because I think that's one of those things that are so important for an entrepreneur, and very few people think about
Yeah,
how many decisions and quality of decisions that they're making on a daily basis.
yeah,
And it kind of also leans into the example of Steve Jobs that you're talking about having a uniform.
yeah.
Tell us more about what is decision fatigue, and what should one be mindful of.
Yeah, so, the brain burns more energy than any other part of our body, and when there's research, studies and research and so much out there on when we have to make a series of difficult decisions, our decision making capability actually degrades, and our likelihood of making decisions that we will not be happy with later actually goes up. Let me give you an example. So if somebody gets up in the morning and they're in a place where they want to be in better shape, and so they're eating nothing but healthy foods, then getting up in the morning first thing, you're probably not going to be challenged by, I need to go get a cheeseburger. But if you get up in the morning and there's challenges with the kids and you're making decisions on how to deal with them, and you don't have a morning routine, so the morning's haphazard and you're throwing things together, you're leaving the house late for the fifth time in a 5-day week, you get your kids to school late, you get to work late, you're behind on things, and all day you're in this constant treading water. By the time 3:30 rolls around and you're out on a sales call or you're out doing something and you pass the fast food place, your brain is going to make it a lot easier for you to go do something that you're not going to be happy with later. And so the more that we set ourselves up for success in advance, the more that we eliminate that decision-making fatigue by creating a process through which we support ourselves, we'll make more consistently good decisions. And I think a lot of people, not think, I know a lot of people say things like, oh, I just have a hard time keeping in shape, or I have a hard time not eating these foods. Or, I think for a lot of the time it's, well, here's what's happened. You're allowing your decision-making capacity to be burned out so quickly that your mind is in a place where it's just looking for pleasure. It gives up discipline. It gives up any type of outcomes that you have. And it says, how do I just feel better right now?
Hmm.
And so when we understand that decision making fatigue is a real thing, and when we know, or when we allow for that understanding to drive us to say, okay, how do I eliminate the decisions in the morning? I'm going to put together a morning routine. I'm going to get up in the morning, do the same things that I know will support me. And by the way, I think it's also become cool in the entrepreneurial world to say you don't need a morning routine, or you don't need to have a routine. You need to be in flow. You need to be doing this. The fact is like, flow doesn't happen in most people's lives unless they have a process to get there, unless they actually clear out the noise and the pressure to get there. And so I think, it might not be the sexiest answer, but man, in my experience, when I've been able to work with people and have had them put together a morning routine, simple, like write it down and go through the checklist, and they've eliminated decision making in advance, suddenly all the stuff in their business gets easier, and they start making way more progress in the things that are really important to them, and they start making better decisions.
That is so true. Do you think why is it becoming cool? I didn't know that it was even cool to not have, because I always thought flow is generated in a way, and that's what
100%.
if
It's
you
set up.
yeah, and
Yeah.
if you listen to anyone or watch anyone that is a high performer who's in a state of flow, or seems like they must be in a state of flow, they have everything set almost like it's rhythmic. It's like,
Yeah.
yep, this is what I do, then I da, 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 da,
Yeah.
and then this around this time is when I say, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then it is open to whatever happens. But I've already gotten my thing done.
I think a lot of times people say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm just going to do everything that it takes to run this business and nothing else. But if you're not getting up in the morning and taking care of yourself, if you're not taking walks, if you're not meditating, and I know that like meditation is almost a bad word in the entrepreneurial space because everybody's like, I can't. It just means sitting there for a few minutes with your eyes closed, breathing and letting your brain process. It doesn't mean that it has to be blank. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you sit there and your mind is racing, that's exactly what it needs to be doing. If you're, how doing those things is going to help you increase the ability to see what you really want to do. Protect yourself, protect your sensitivity. Don't lean into this, I need to sacrifice everything. Will there be sacrifices? Of course there will. But the more you take care of yourself, the more you lower the pressure and noise in your life, the unnecessary pressure and noise, you'll be able to do the things that you need to do to actually be successful.